So we are 2 men in the Bible, minus one man, plus one man. So that's what we are today. Jeff had to go to an appointment with somebody that he didn't know he had an appointment with just a few seconds ago. So that's what happened here. That's why I have myself as part of the 2 men in the Bible. And then now we have with us today a great friend of mine, and his name is Michael Coachman. Michael and I ran together as a team. Michael was running for governor, and he wanted me along with as a lieutenant governor. And I just loved working with Michael, getting to know Michael. We never knew each other prior to being together for that event, but I did meet him in Cavalier, and after listening to him speak for about 15 minutes, I turned to my wife and I said, that's the man that needs to be the governor of North Dakota. He has to be that person. And I just wish the whole world could get to know him like I got to know him. I really appreciate Michael. And I saw his heart for the Lord, his heart to serve people. It was an amazing event just to listen to him. And I thought, we haven't heard a politician like this guy in a lot of years. And so I was very, very pleased. And I walked up to him. He had no idea who I was. And I said, Michael, you need to be our next governor. And I don't know if Michael remembered that scene or not, but I remembered it very well. And then a few weeks later, he asked me to be his running mate. And what was interesting to me about that scene was that I had been praying that maybe I could do something like that someday in the future. And then Michael comes along and asks that question that just kind of blew me away. So we have with us today Michael Coachman. He's from Larimore, North Dakota. He's been from Larimore since, is it 1992? Something around there?
92. I've been from Larimore.
Yep.
Been here in North Dakota since 1990.
Yeah, 1990. Yep. And 92 in Larimore. And so we have a true North Dakotan with us. He does hail from a unknown state named Pennsylvania. Is that right? Am I right?
No, you're not right.
Oh. Where is it from?
Connecticut.
What's that?
I'm from Connecticut.
Oh, yes. Connecticut. That other state that I don't know anything about. So, but that's where Michael's from, Connecticut. He came to us in the military at Minot Air Force Base and Grand Forks Air Force Base. And so we are just thrilled to have Michael in North Dakota.
Thank you.
One of the reasons we have Michael with us today is I'd like for our audience to hear Michael's story and know why you believe that God has called you to run as governor of the state of North Dakota. And maybe also let us know what it is that would happen if you were governor of the state. And Michael, I know you, so I know that you can talk. And so without me questioning anything, so I just figured I'm just going to let you talk and share your story with us. And I so much appreciate Michael. So here goes, everybody.
Thank you, Joel. I know we're limited for time, and like you're right, yes. It has been an adventure. It's been a blessing the whole time. And I want to thank you, Joel. You have been a breath of fresh air. And I constantly think about you. You have been a good running mate, a good friend, and a good helper. And I tell you what, I have learned a lot from you, and it's really great watching you grow in the grace and the knowledge of God and the shell that you were in and that you're not anymore. And it's just blessing the fact that you're standing up and doing more fighting, not just for the government, against the government, but for also standing up for the Lord. And it's good to see that. And we need more people to do so. But to go on to your questions, and um, how it all started. I'm going to say it was like 2006, 2008 time frame, and I was involved in local government, in city council. I was in the city council for a while, for at least 8 years. And during that time, it just, going to League of Cities and all these different things, it just started making my heart desire to do more for the people, because I was definitely trying to help the citizens here layer more on my war, even though I was up against different things. But that's what part of government is. But I wanted to do more, and I started going to, I think, my first GOP convention was in Minot, and I started seeing things and meeting people, and I didn't understand a lot of the politics that was going on. And then I was like listening to this one person that was going to run for the Senate, and I said, wow. And I was turning to these guys that were next to me, and I said, wow, that's a great speaker. And they said, yeah, but he's not going to win because they already picked it. I'm like, I said, we're delegates. We didn't even vote yet. And he goes, they looked at me like, you'll see. So I didn't catch on, but I remember that. And then going to another convention, I started seeing things. My eyes were starting to open. I started seeing things going on. I started seeing people were asking me to be on certain committees for the GOP, and I started seeing different things, and I'm like, why, if we believe this, are we not following it? And I didn't understand what a rhino was for a long time. I just thought it was somebody who's a seasoned Republican who knows the rules, and he's strong and he's forceful, but not realizing they're really blind and Republican in name only. So I didn't learn that until a lot later what a rhino was, and but I heard it used a lot. And then as I was going through and I started seeing, you know what, these people, when you start studying their Constitution and all these different things, and what we stand and we believe as a Republican, I'm seeing a contrast. I'm saying, how are these individuals who are supposedly saying this, doing this? How can we have such big issues in the state if they say they are supporting this? They're against abortion, but they're allowing this. They support against the Second Amendment. They support the Second Amendment, but they're supporting red flag. And it just wasn't adding up, and I was getting frustrated. And I'm like, why are these things just happening? And again, it was one of those where I am not one that is shy to talk about some things, and I was just up and
that would be true, Michael. Yeah.
I stood up and started saying, why are we doing this? If you say we're this, and people says, "Oh, sit down and shut up and just ride along," I says, "No, that's not how I roll." And I started seeing the truth, and then I started seeing people who were Democrats. All of a sudden, they started running as Republicans. We have socialists and we have communists, and then I'm like, what is it? So starting to see some things, I was getting frustrated, especially when I go to Medora and I represent our district, 19, our old district 19, and I had a lot of questions, and it was just frustrating me dealing with a lot of different things. But then I really didn't know anybody and what to do, so I just did what I know best: do what's right in spite. So it was, I was going to say about 2012 when 2010 when Paul Sorum ran for governor. He asked me to run for lieutenant governor, and I said yeah. And then we started seeing some things again at the convention, 2014 with the Ron Paul group and how people were shutting things down. And I said, you know what? If I can make a change, I'm going to back up again. And I remember running for the GOP head against Dan Stein. I was running against him, and And I said, we can make changes by teaching people, because I was an instructor in the military for really a majority of my life. Of 16 years, I've been an instructor, plus I've been a martial arts instructor. And I always believe in teaching the basics to everybody so they can get that fundamental ground.
Right.
And I said, if you do that, I said, strengthen our party by building it, by strengthening and do a lot of training for a lot of Republicans on what we stand and believe. And I said, we can also train a lot of people who are undecisive. And I said, we can also train some Democrats to understand why it's better to become a Republican. I said, even if they don't, if they go from the far left to the middle, I said, it doesn't take much for them to move to the right. But you got to teach them what our principles and why our principles as a Republican, why it's the most profound thing that we can do. And so when I ran, a lot of people said, you did good, but you need to be in politics or in the Republican Party a lot longer. I said, you mean like, or into politics a lot longer? I said, so you got to be in politics for a long time to know the system. They said, yes. I said, well, if that's the case, then we need to keep Pomeroy and these other guys who've been in that were Democrat at the time. We should elect them because they've been in 22 years. There's no. I said, exactly. So time, does that mean nothing? Being in a party or a system make one better. It's your ideals and it's your belief behind it. So they started saying, yeah, you're right. But I lost by 1 point against Dan Stein. I'm like, well, which was weird because they went to the kitchen and counted. But I picked nothing on that. I said, okay, that's fine. And as I continued to go on, I started seeing a lot of different things. And then I believe it was 2018, again, I was running with Paul Sorum twice for governor and lieutenant governor.
16.
And we started different things.
16 maybe, yeah.
14, 16, yeah.
16.
And then 2018, there was an incident at the GOP where the person who was running for Secretary of State had to step down. And one of those things where somebody said, somebody need to stand up. And I said, yeah, somebody should. And somebody said, well, you ought to do it. I said, no. And then that's something the Lord laid on my heart. Yeah, you should. And then that got me involved in running for a Secretary of State and going around. And I did it with fear and trepidation, but I believe that was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I remember sitting on my front porch, and after election, I said, I did, it was really weird seeing stuff like by 8:00, I had 41,000 votes, and after that, not another vote, and it was only like 25% of the precincts reported in. So I started seeing a different light, like how can that mathematically be impossible not get another vote, and precincts start to increase. So that got me aware of some other things. So then in 2020, the Lord impressed me to run for governor. And I have learned from my 2018 experience and to really try to track more information, what's going on. And I started seeing things from the primary, all the different things. And then, as you know, things that started to spill out on with Trump and his candidate and stuff. And I said, Lord, what do you want me to do? And it was pretty much run for governor here in 2024. But it's not just so much the Lord impressed me, but Charles Tuttle and Bob Wheeler, we, after the 2020 election, started going around the state speaking to groups of people, encouraging them to keep coming on because there was a lot of despair, a lot of anxiety, a lot of
feeling of defeat.
Yes, feeling of defeat that was going on. And the Lord really gave me a burden for the people. And my heart went out. And again, everything happened for a reason. And I learned, I loved the people before, but I learned to love the people of North Dakota more. And then I started seeing things that in our government was really not out for our government. And what really, one of the biggest things that really opened my eyes, because I was just going to, again, just gradually go into stuff was the food thing. And that was the Chinese starting to come in to North Dakota to buy up land. And then I started seeing this Bill Gates and all this other thing.
You were pretty influential in stopping.
I was one of the people. There was actually a group of people that were in it. One of my friends. It was really funny because Dennis Cadillac, he called me and says, "Coach, you need to come to the city council meeting." And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm not even part of Grand Forks. What is this all about?" But being a good friend, I went and sat in, minding my own business here. Once I sat in, but there were some things that were said that perked me up, that got me interested. And one of them was that the base commander, the statement was base commander said it was okay for the Chinese to come in. And I knew that with my 20 years of military experience, base commanders do not have a say in local government. That is not their policy. That's not their stand. That is something that the Secretary of Air Force has to have a say on, and not base commanders. And I knew that. So I called them out. I says, no. I said, well, they didn't say nothing. I said, that's not. Just because someone doesn't say anything doesn't mean it's okay. And that's when I really started realizing that and I started questioning them, like this next city council. Does the base commander have a letter stating his stance on that, which I knew he would not do it because that would be almost like a career-ending thing. And they said, "No, we talked about it pretty much like over breakfast and golf or something like that." I said, "No, then you can't use that statement. You cannot." I said, "What you need to do is get a letter from the Secretary of State and also the Department of Defense, the FBI, and all their other three-letter agencies," and they wouldn't do it. That I knew there's something, as they would say, very technical word, hokey going on.
Or fishy.
Yeah. So that got me going. And then I knew when I started seeing things that it was connected statewide. I was following some other things from different things that were happening across the state that were lining up saying there's some things that are not right here in Denmark.
The Chinese wanted to come in here quite strongly, and we've had quite a few people quite involved in trying to get them here. And we have a lot of those people running right now, trying to get the Chinese here. And we need to get those people out of office because this is not good.
That's one of the reasons I'm running because, again, I served 20 years in the military. My father served 20 years in the military. There's a lot of people who serve and defend this nation against foreign and entities, and not just foreign, but domestic enemies. And there's a reason why it's stated that way. And that is one of the reasons that I am running out is because our liberties, COVID was another thing, on how our freedom is being taken away. Our Second Amendment rights are being taken away. All our freedom is being taken away. And then I said in the 2020, I said, the most important amendment we have is our Second Amendment. And I remember...
that's the speech that changed me for you.
Was
the Second Amendment speech. Yep.
Yeah. Take away the second, you can't defend the first. And when I have legislators trying to take our Second Amendment right, and with that red flag and the hoopla that went with that, I'm like, man, this is just wrong. I mean, there's not one set of things. There's a lot of things that is causing me to run. And right now, one of the things, or a few of the things, as we already talked about, is our freedom. We see the corruption that is happening, not just in our nation, but in our state, even though some people don't want to admit it, but that's okay. That's what makes America great. You have the freedom to believe the way you want. And that's fine. That's what caused diversity. That's what caused the ingenuity of American know-how, is because we are not locked into one way of thinking. But it is when we have one way of thinking that is bad or negative. But even with the negative, you can learn from it. So as I continue to move forward, I'm thinking, who is going to stand in the gap against this tyranny, this evil
power? Yeah.
At one time, it was Democrat versus Republican, but it's not. That's what it's not about anymore. It's good versus evil, because it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican. It's good versus evil. And right now, the people of North Dakota are suffering because of this.
And you're not saying one party is good and one party is evil. You're saying there's good in each party and there's bad in each party, or evil in each party.
A lot of Democrats that do stand on really a lot of Republican principles.
Yep.
But there's people within the party that they're out for globalism, socialism, and to really to limit the people of the great state of North Dakota. And what they do is they go on an offensive. They try to attack you, the individuals itself, their family, all means.
And we have 3 minutes to go. Just letting you know.
So that's what got me involved into moving forward as running. And I want to stand and give the power back to the people. We, the people, are the most important thing. And I learned that also in Fufang. We, the people, we have to have individuals that are willing to stand on the federal Constitution and the state of North Dakota Constitution. If you put those two things, we'll fix 99.9% of the issues and problems that we have here in North Dakota. And that's what I want to do. It's not about a party. It's about doing what's right in spite.
Very good. I really appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate your heart for this country, the state, the city you live in, Larimore, the township, the district. Folks, what I saw in Michael through the entire time that we were campaigning together, one of the things that happened for Michael is his wife got quite sick during campaign time. So we didn't get to spend as much time as we wanted together. But what I saw in Michael is his heart to serve the Lord Jesus Christ. And that was pretty powerful for me to see that in a wonderful man running for governor of the state of North Dakota. So thank you very much, Michael, for all that you've done. One of the things that I see you doing is educating the state, and win or lose, you have made a huge impact in this state by just going around with Bob Wheeler and Charles Tuttle, going around teaching people what's really going on in our state. And it's just a wonderful thing to see a man like you out there telling the people what's going on and what they can do to make a difference in our state. It's important for everybody to realize one person can make a difference. And we see that happening all the time. So we often think we can't make a difference, but we can make a difference. And thank you, Michael, for being that person.
Well, thank you. Hey, I want to say the 15th of June, Capitol Grounds, we're having a Trump rally.
Okay. Everybody, the 15th of June on the Capitol Grounds, any particular time? Do you know?
From 1 to 2, and we're going to have some great speakers.
From 1 to 2?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. So June 15th, the Trump rally. I don't know that Trump will be there, but there will be a Trump rally, and there's going to be a number of speakers from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock at the Capitol grounds front steps, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nice to see you again, Michael.
Great
to have you. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
You bet. Bye. Goodbye, everybody. Nice to have you aboard.